Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here, and welcome back to another YouTube video on the channel. And today, guys, here we are on Team Maker to do a little bit of a different video today. But today we're going to be ranking every AFL team's premiership chance at the moment. We're just about to head into round 11, a big round of footy coming up. But at the moment, from the first 10 rounds, I'm going to be going over where I think every side's premiership chances are at the moment. We'll be doing a couple more throughout the year. We'll definitely be doing one when the finals start, before the finals start, and then we'll be doing a couple more before the end of the season, and see what changes from here to the next one, etc., 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 etc. Now our tiers today: Premiership favourite, second pack, third pack, mid chance. Those are probably the ones for the top 8, which the teams I believe will finish inside top 8. And then you got outside chance, slight chance, no chance. So hop into things. Adelaide think they're an outside chance. Don't know whether they'll make the 8 or not, but if they do, I think they're still an outside chance to win the premiership. Look, they're deadly at the Adelaide Oval. They can beat just about any side there. But interstate, we have seen their performances, which does definitely raise a problem, and that's why I do feel like they're an outside chance to win the premiership. They've been very good at the Adelaide Oval, but as much as they've been good there, you've got to back it up with some good interstate performances, and I just don't think they've done that well enough this year at the moment to prove that they're a better chance than outside chance. Brisbane, now we're going to move on to them. They're premiership favourites. This one is quite obvious. I think they're definitely up there for one of the premiership favourites at the moment, along with probably 2 other clubs, I think, at the moment that are premiership favourites as well with them, which I think those clubs are probably obvious to who they are. But yeah, Brisbane, everything's working for them at the moment. Big crunch time clash coming up with Adelaide this round at the Adelaide Oval. But look, I think everything is working for them quite well at the moment. That's why they're premiership favourites. Carlton, I think they sit at or either outside chance or slight chance. I'm going to put them as slight chance. Their year has not gone the way that they would have wanted it to. They started the year inside finals. They've really fallen off recently. They've got issues over the ground. Defence, midfield, forward, they've got issues. They've fixed up a couple of them, but there's still a few ones which are there. I don't think they'll make finals anymore this year, especially should they lose on Friday night. It'll potentially and probably be season over, and then even that, then it's Melbourne in round 12. So I mean, if Friday night doesn't do it for you, round 12 will. So yeah, I think for Carlton, they've got a big next couple of weeks, and we'll really be learning a lot about them. But even if they do make the top 8, I still don't think they'll win the premiership. On to Collingwood, premiership favourites as well for me. 8-1 starts the year. You couldn't do much better than that. And yeah, they're just in great form. Their team is off and rolling, and even though they've had some big man problems throughout the year, I think they've still backed it up quite well and done some really good games. Yes, they've won a couple of close ones, which they potentially shouldn't have won, maybe versus Essendon and Adelaide. But other than that, though, I think, this year's been a great year for them so far, for the Pies. Essendon, I think they're a mid-chance to win the flag. We know they've been through their toughest part of the fixture so far, and it's only easier stuff to come. And they play teams like West Coast and North Melbourne twice, which are probably guaranteed big wins for them, both of those games. And yeah, I think that finals is well and truly on the agenda here for this Essendon side. I think they can make finals. I think they potentially will make finals as well, especially that big win last week versus Richmond. When it does come to, again, the premiership scope and stuff like that, I don't think they'll win the flag. But again, though, it's still just going on chance. I think they're a mid-chance, and making finals would be something for them. Fremantle, I think they're mid-chance as well. We've seen what they've been able to do in the past couple of weeks, and they look like they're back. And I don't have confidence to put them into third pack just yet, especially because of how the finals is going at the moment. But I still do believe, though, that, look, this Fremantle side is not here to muck around anymore. They started off the year poorly, but I think that's behind them now. They've had some really good weeks with some really big games, and I think they're coming back here, this Fremantle side. I think they can potentially make finals and snare a spot. But yeah, they're definitely coming back. They've had some really big weeks with some really big wins and games, and I do think that their team is starting to get rolling. So now on to Geelong. I think they're second pack here, and again, you can't write off the Cats just yet. A lot of people have already started to write them off. You can't do that at the moment. And even if you're writing them off with their last couple of weeks that have been bumpy versus Richmond and Fremantle, you can't do that either, because they've been without some of their side. Stengel was one of them. Dangerfield obviously being a big one. They've been without Stanley for multiple weeks now. So they're still not back to their full flying best. And when they are definitely up at a premiership favourite. But I think at the moment, just from how their season's going, they're in 7th at the moment. And again, basing most of this off the first part of the year as well. That's why I have them in second pack for anybody wondering. But I do feel like when they're up and rolling, they're premiership favourites. But again, at the moment, second pack. Gold Coast, slight chance as well. Their next 2 weeks prove critical for their season. Should they fail to win both those games at season over, bye, and then Carlton. So, look, I think that, their next 3 weeks are critical and they need to win at least 2 of their next 3. So rounds 11, 12, and 14, they need to win 2 of those 3 games to be any chance for finals, because otherwise it'll get extremely tough for Gold Coast to make it. These next 2 weeks versus Dogs and Crows and Darwin will be big, and then Carlton will be big as well. But I think at the moment, slight chance. They're building something good here, the Suns. But I just feel like, again, at the start of the year, I wasn't quite sure on the Suns. And, I doubt they'll make finals. GWS first side, in no chance. Look, they have been on the wrong end of a couple of thrillers this year. A couple of close games. But really, they shouldn't have been in some of those games. Games like versus Carlton, and Essendon, and even Adelaide, they really shouldn't have been in those games. And they were lucky to get that win over Adelaide. They just narrowly lost to Carlton. So, interesting stuff, though, for the Giants. But, they are in the bottom 4. And they may rise. They may finish maybe 14th or something like that. But, they won't be making finals this year. Nor will Hawthorn. Their list is coming. They're building their list here, the Hawks. And their midfield is exciting. And last week's big win over West Coast was definitely, if you're a Hawthorn supporter, quite exciting with all their young talent on show. But again, though, they're not going to make finals this year. We know that. Melbourne, though, onto them. They are still a premiership favourite for mine. Some people are putting them probably second pack on this list. If other people ranking this list, probably people would have them second pack. I'm not writing off the Demons just because of one poor week where they lost by 4 points. Yes, Port Adelaide were the clear winners in the end, but look, I still thought that the Demons were good enough. And Clayton Oliver, yes, they're not going to have him for the next few weeks, and this could be season defining. And when we're back here a little bit later on this year talking about them, they could be different. But at the moment, I still think they're a premiership favourite. We know their year's still going well. They're still going strong. They've still got a great side, and their premiership year was built off their defence, and their defence is still going strong. That's where they won the 2021 flag, and that is where they can potentially win another flag is off that defence. It's still going strong. Nothing is wrong with it at the moment. I think they're still going perfectly fine. North Melbourne, no chance. Again, they're building another exciting thing like Hawthorn, Sheezer, Wardlaw look to be great players, up-and-coming players. But again, though, they're not going to be any chance. Larky's a really exciting one as well. But they're building exciting stuff. But at the moment, they're not going to make finals this year, and we do know that. But their list is definitely getting there. They're getting some good players, and even though it's only a couple, but a couple will turn into a few more after a few more years. Port Adelaide, I have them in or second pack, I think. Interstate, maybe a little bit of a problem for them, but I felt like their win against St Kilda at Marvel in round 7 was probably a critical win for their year, I felt. Yes, they've had a couple of little choppy, iffy games, and this one versus Richmond will be a big interstate test at the MCG. But I feel like besides that, I think they're rolling really well. They just knocked off a premiership favourite in Melbourne. They've beaten Brisbane and weren't great against Collingwood, but they've beaten some really good premiership favourites, which does put them second pack for me. Their midfield is exciting. Their defence is undersized and can be troublesome at times when you're coming up against a taller forward line, which they found that out in the showdown versus the Crows. But besides that, though, their forward line's still going quite fine. They've got some very versatile midfielder forwards, half-back midfielders, half-back, half-forwards. They've got some very versatile players, which will take them places this year and get them closer to a flag. Alright, now on to the next one. It is Richmond, and they are definitely a slight chance. Damien Hardwick quitting the Tigers couldn't have come at a worse time for him, right midway through the season. They lose one more game, really, versus Port Adelaide on the Sunday, and their season is done. I don't think they were expected to make finals. I think they can still not contend for finals, but can definitely finish higher than 14th or whatever it is at the moment, or 13th. But, they're not going to make finals. I think this new coach can come in and, not new coach, but their assistant coach can come in and change a couple of things around, perhaps see what he can do with the Tigers. They've got a great list and we know that, but yeah, they won't be making finals this year. St Kilda, third pack for me. I do feel like compared to the second pack and mid-chance, there's a bit of a gap in between. St Kilda, I think, slot into that gap in the middle. They've just been doing what they've needed to do, I think. Look, they weren't overly impressive against the Giants. Against the Crows, they were poor, but their defence is still going quite well. They have been exposed against both Adelaide sides, Port Adelaide and Adelaide, which exposed their defence. But I still feel like they'll make finals and can be a genuine chance from there. I think their list is looking good, and yeah, they've only just been flourished with some returns. Example, Max King, and I think there's still probably a couple more returns for them to have and celebrate in the next few weeks and stuff like that. So yeah, I think this Saints side will make finals and can be a real genuine crack at the Premiership. Sydney, slight chance for them now. I think their season could be potentially done on Friday night. Should they lose to Carlton, I think it's season over for the loser on Friday night, really. Now, Sydney, it hasn't been a great year for them. They started well. They've just really lost their mojo, and the SCG is not a big fortress anymore like they thought it was, which it was. It was looking like it was going to get there and just didn't quite get there in the end so far this year. But yeah, they've got injuries everywhere. Their defence line is undersized, forward line undersized because of all their injuries and stuff like that, and a few poor weeks, and it really does set you back. So Sydney, doubt they'll be making finals. West Coast, we know they're not making finals. We know they are the worst side in the competition at the moment. They got absolutely smashed by Hawthorn. And yeah, it's definitely time for them to look into a rebuild and see what they can do with their list and see what they can do to make the club better. And yeah, try and re-roll this list. And the Western Bulldogs, I think their second pack, I got belief in the Western Bulldogs. They always do it. Last year, just snuck into the top 8, didn't have a great year, but just got in. And they've just been such a finals threat side, and I think their midfield is back off and biting. The Western Bulldogs' bite is back in town, and I think they're really going to be able to go places this year, and I reckon they are a real chance for the top 4. I mean, with their fixture to come, I think they can make the top 4. They can beat some sides like Collingwood at Marvel, potentially as well, and maybe even the Cats at Marvel, but look, they've got some big games coming up to the Western Bulldogs. But yeah, I think they can genuinely make the top 4, which puts them in second pack. But yeah, I think the Western Bulldogs, their midfield bite is back. Their bite is back. They're going well. So there we go. Premiership favourites, Brisbane, Collingwood, Melbourne. Second pack, Geelong, Port Adelaide, Dogs. Third pack, St Kilda. Mid-chance, Freo, Essendon. Outside chance, Adelaide. Slight chance, Carlton, Gold Coast, Richmond, Sydney. No chance, Giants, Hawks, North, West Coast. This is my opinion. Feel free to let me know your opinion in the comment section. Thank you guys for so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. See you guys in the next video on the channel. Thank you guys so much. Bye everyone. Flame for the out.